We are a country with 668,000 towns and villages. Please tell me how many police stations we have. I have not got the answer from any of these people because they don't know anything about India. Nothing about India is being taught to these people. So I used to tell them for 668,000 villages, we have only 14,800 police stations. But still, our crime rates are the lowest because still we have respect for parents, elders, women, teachers. Do you mean to say India is run by police or army or state or law or courts? No. It is run by the civilizational idea of Dharma, which prevails in 80-90% of India even today. Territorially, it of course exists in mostly rural areas, but in the towns and cities, it exists in the form of families, communities, spiritual people. They have kept the flame of Dharma. It is not the state or the rule of law or the courts or the media or the intellectual educational institutions. They have not contributed to the idea of Dharma. Actually, they have actually undermined the idea of Dharma. Dharma is a word alien to the Indian discourse. It is very, very unfortunate. In fact, when Atal Bihari Vajpayee, of course, with whom I had good connections, used to meet him, when he used the word coalition Dharma, I went and congratulated Atalji. I said, you use the word Dharma in politics. At least there is some place for Dharma. Because coalition Dharma means there is a discipline which cannot be expressed in normal terms in politics. And then even Karunanidhi, our chief minister, who did not believe in the idea of Dharma, he began using the word coalition Dharma. Dharma is there somewhere in our consciousness. Without Dharma, this country will cease to exist. Its very identity, with very drive, its soul, its DNA is Dharma. So, Dharmic sovereignty is different from imperial sovereignty. Just like Dharmic religions, I wouldn't use the word religions because in English there is no other word, I have to use it. Dharmic religions are different from imperial religions. Imperial religions are not dharmic. Dharmic religions are not imperial. Sovereignty is associated in the West with imperial qualities, whether it is religion, whether it is politics, whether it is statecraft, or education, or ideas. You may be very interested to know that imperial religion said, I am true, all other religions are false. This is how the whole process of colonization began, as Swamiji said. They said this religion has to be spread. It is not that this religion has to be spread was an individual idea or the desire of Christians or the church. It is a mandate. It is called eschatology in Christianity. Eschatological Christianity, it is very much part of the Christian fundamentals. That the world is about to end, but the world will end after Christ comes back and rules the world for 1,000 years. But the idea was not to wait for Jesus Christ to come back. There is a condition for Jesus Christ to come back, that the entire world must be converted into Christian world. Then only Christ will come. That is why this urge to convert. And Columbus, he didn't set out to travel to America. He set out to travel to India. 15th edition of Encyclopedia Britannica says in the page of 702, if I remember right, that he set out to travel to India because he believed Hinduism was delaying and preventing the return of Christ, and he had to go and eliminate Hinduism. This is eschatological Christianity. Imperial Christianity. This imperialism, after they conquered the world through colonialism, acquired power, material strength, army, navy, and spread their education, their language, their lifestyle, their dress, their manners. As Macaulay said, we have to produce a set of Indians who will be Indians in color, Englishmen in taste, values, and morals. They could do it. With the result, they conquered the whole world. And in this, one man came and wrote a poem that is called White Man's Burden. How many of you know there is very intense association between that man and that poem with Bombay? Does anybody know here? You see, he was born in Bombay. He was an Anglo-Indian. He wrote the poem White Man's Burden on the 1st of January, or the first week of January, 1889. On the 8th of January, this poem was quoted in the US Senate, where they discussed whether they should take over Philippines in the Spanish War. And one man quoted this poem and said, this poem says that these uncivilized, dirty, barbaric people, and he has lived with that group. He has written it. Why are you taking over the burden of these people? The other one says, see the title of the poem, it says White Man's Burden. It is our responsibility to take over and civilize them. That is how the racial superiority came. The entire idea that the West has to civilize the world and direct the world, educate the world, this originated in Bombay. So you must understand, whatever Swamiji said, it was a systematic conspiracy agenda by an imperial drive which came from religion, then from trade, then from politics, then from army. Bharatavarsha never accepted this. We never accepted power as superior. We accepted Dharma as superior and power as a measure to serve Dharma. In fact, how did Dharma evolve? As I said, it is the rishis who received the cosmic message in the most congenial atmosphere of forest. Arun Shourie and me used to discuss in 1980s. At that time, the situation was so bad. Today, at least, we see a hope. The country is rising. The West is in trouble. We have a stable country, a stable leader. We are rising as a civilization. There cannot be a more appropriate atmosphere, Swamiji, than starting this topic at a time when India is in a position to raise its voice and give its message to the world. Because for everything, time is, you cannot advance time, and at the same time, you should not postpone time also. So this is the right time. We have begun talking about what is the Indian idea of sovereignty, what is the Indian idea of solving issues where there is clash of sovereignties within a territory or between the territories. We have successfully solved the idea of clash of sovereignties within a territory. That is why diverse faiths, diverse ways of worship, diverse way of seeing the same thing. From a Buddha who said, when asked the question whether there is God, he said, I don't know. Is there no God? He said, I don't know. From him down to people who believed only in God, in a physical God, in an idol. Everything coexisted in India without violence.